Yo, what's up, people? It's your boy. I'm Chris Adam One, and I'm back with another video. Rate, comment, subscribe. Do not forget to hit the notification bell so you'll know when my next live stream or video goes down. Okay. Normally when I do E3, I do it on my gaming channel. I thought it would be a great idea to do a live stream on my main channel, and I'm gonna tell you guys what happened yesterday at E3, the Microsoft press conference. Okay, first, before I begin, I want to say something real fast, real quick about the conference itself, the stage, the audience, things of that nature. To me, it the stage was pretty much almost an exact duplicate of last year's stage. Okay, when you talk about the presentation, the background, even though there was some few subtle differences, like the smoke effects on the floor and the lighting, but everything else looked basically the same from last year. Okay, on stage, I'm talking about the stage now. As far as the audience go, it was more a condensed, smaller audience. Okay, and that was due to the part of Microsoft direction on how they wanted the stage and the seating set up. It was that's the from what I gathered from watching the presentation, and I wanted to make absolutely sure what I was saying was true, because I looked at last year's E3, just Microsoft's, and the stage looked almost the same as this year's stage, but there was more people in the audience. Okay, it was set like a concert. It was set up like a concert. To yesterday's audience was set up like a meeting with the stock owners and the stock, it just said formal, small, and condensed. Okay, I didn't get the feel of a fan or fanatic type of ambiance. Okay, so yeah, last year's E3, I mean, I'm only looking at Microsoft, but it looked more packed, more fuller. It looked like it was people that actually just actual fans of the Xbox, Microsoft, the brand, and the games. Okay, now with that being said, let's get into the conference itself. This year, when you look at it from Microsoft's advantage and Microsoft viewpoint, this year's conference, they didn't have to worry about the others, the big three. They didn't have to worry about Nintendo. They didn't have to worry about Sony. The reason why they didn't have to worry about Nintendo, because Nintendo for the past couple of years have done a video stream type of conference, okay, where they're not actually there at E3, okay. So and they didn't have to worry about that yesterday because Nintendo didn't do theirs yesterday. As far as Sony goes, Sony told us that they were not coming, okay. So when you look at it as competition, there was really no competition for Microsoft. It was Microsoft's day through and through. And when you look at E3 as a whole, it's Microsoft. The next 3 days is going to be about Microsoft. Okay. Now, I felt like Sony. The reason why they didn't want to do an E3 this year was it's very obvious. They really didn't have anything to show, and they're trying to they're closing out this gen. And they didn't want to talk about the PlayStation 5 and what upcoming games are going to be coming for the next gen of consoles. Okay, which I felt like that was good strategy. Just continue to focus on the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation Pro, and give people a reason to continue to buy the PlayStation 4. Okay, in a slew of games. I'm pretty sure a lot of people have not played yet. All right, so keep the energy that way. Okay, Microsoft showed a lot of games, and Phil Spencer got on the stage and said, "Look, we're not worried about the game. We're just making games for all gamers," which that kind of had me scratch my head, because yes, when you look at the gaming season, and when you look at the conference, you show a multitude of games. You show games for the casuals. You show games for the hardcore. You show games. You show sequels to the fans that enjoy playing, like Assassin's Creed and things, Call of Duty, Battlefield, whatever the case may be. Okay, Destiny, whatever. All right. So you show a multitude of different games because you have a different look for your presentation. It's not going to be the same look throughout, and that's what I got from Microsoft Conference. Microsoft Conference was the same look. Okay, and when you look at when you look at the games that they announced, other than Gears, which I would love to play that game. Halo, I would love to play that game, even though I'm not a huge Halo fan. Forza Motorsports, the DLC with Legos. Even though I'm not a race car fanatic, I don't buy racing titles, but I can see people who are fans of it, why would they will continue and still purchase merchandise. Well, DLC for the Motorsport is a beautiful looking game, even with the Lego aspect. Okay, so, but after that, there was really no other new IP. It really doesn't matter if it's a new IP, something old. There was really nothing there for people who purchased the Xbox One X. There was really nothing there for that console. For people who's thinking about buying these other consoles for the next gen, there was really nothing for those people. Okay, so I had a bunch of games that I wrote down. And then I just said the hell with it when I went halfway through, because to be honest with you, what Microsoft shown last night, they would have been better off just taking a page from Sony and just not shown anything. Okay, the games that they mentioned, they're not going to challenge the next successor of the Xbox One X. It's not even going to challenge the Xbox One X. Okay, we'll get into all that later. They showed a multitude of games. They showed one game that kind of reminds you of Borderlands. It was the first game. I forgot the name of it, because to be honest with you, I was not amused by it. It didn't interest me. And then they showed something from Ninja Theory that's supposed to be this 4-player melee multiplayer. It didn't interest me either. Okay, then they showed a slew of other games that look like they could be played on an iPhone or a Galaxy or whatever smartphone you have. I wasn't enthused by those games. Xbox Game Pass, they talked about that, how now the console, they're gonna have a console version of Xbox Game Pass, and they kept talking about Xbox Game Pass as well as Microsoft the service is going to be on multiple consoles. Okay, they didn't really go into detail when they say what they mean by multiple consoles, but they meant consoles other than what Microsoft is developing. So there's a lot of rumor and speculation going around that Nintendo may have an Xbox Game Pass, and with the recent news about Sony and Microsoft partnering up for the cloud or for the servers. With that rumor still floating around, there's a possibility that you may see Xbox Game Pass on the PlayStation 5. Okay, I say, and that's a possibility. That's a hypothetical. Okay, I'm not 100% sure on it being on a PlayStation device, but I am 100% sure that you can see this on other multiple devices other than consoles, like phones. You can see it on televisions. You can see it on the 8K Blu-ray or whatever the next one is, and it's going to be on streaming devices as well. Google is talking about getting into the console business. Best believe Xbox Game Pass is going to be on Google. A lot of people ain't talking about that, but I feel like you're going to see it on Google's streaming device for gaming. Okay, so then they talk about the cloud, how the cloud's supposed to be free. And then they got a package for the PC that's going to have the cloud, Xbox Live, and Xbox Game Pass. You get all three of those services for like what, $9.99, $14.99, which I'm going like, okay, if you're going to do that for consoles, for PCs, then why not do that for consoles? Okay, because you have to give the console player a reason to continue to subscribe to your services. Okay, so I did not see that. Okay, and I felt like Microsoft has plenty of money. They could have did a similar package for the console player. Okay, and I felt like the console player should get a deal on their services just like PC, because you're trying to lure the PC audience into your service, which, by the way, Xbox Live is already it's on Windows PC, and I'm pretty sure Microsoft has the numbers that indicate that there's not a lot of PC players utilizing that service, particularly on Windows 10. Okay, now it's not only on Windows 10, it's on the other applications for PC that you on their services, and so we'll have to wait and see how that transpire. Even though it was like 7-8 months ago when they compared Sony's their version of Game Pass, and how there are more in the user base of PlayStation Now than they are with Xbox Game Pass. And that was like 8, 9, maybe 11 months ago. Things could change, but I don't think it's going to change to the effect where now, because they didn't, when you look at Microsoft, Xbox Game Pass wasn't introduced on all PCs. It was just only introduced on Windows 10. Okay, so there is an audience out there that has not were not able to utilize Xbox Game Pass. Okay, and they also talk about some older games like Batman Arkham Asylum, Borderlands. They talk about how those games are going to be introduced to Xbox Game Pass. Okay. Then they showed off Gears. Gears looked pretty good. It looks good. Even though they showed a trailer, and then they showed some gameplay footage of a new mode that they have called Escape. That's very intriguing. Okay. And they talk about how the story is going to be it's going to be robust. Okay. A lot of people are kind of upset at how Gears is going to have a woman as the leading character, as the hero, the savior, which to me, I don't see a problem in that. I don't see no issues with that. But they didn't show off a lot of gameplay on the campaign. They didn't show off the multiplayer, and when they showed off this new game mode, it was just a CGI trailer. Which, to be quite frank with you guys, that's what they shown in a slew of these games at this conference. They didn't show any gameplay footage, okay? Because they just didn't. All right. So you don't know how these games are going to look. Okay. Now that they just showed some game that you play as a deer. Not interested in that. And they talked about their next console. They only talked about it, and the two key words throughout that whole presentation about their next console was being powerful and loading screens. And then they talked about a lot of terminology that's common in a lot of PC gamers. It's sort of common in the PC. I mean, in the console gamers, like A&D and stuff. All these what's going to be inside the console. But the two things they talked about throughout that whole small presentation was power and loading screens. No loading screens, which PlayStation did a demo on that a couple of months ago. And they just threw it on social media. This wasn't a leaked video or anything. How they was playing a game, which, by the way, that game they're showing a game that's running on the PlayStation Pro, and they used that game and applied it to their next gen console, and how there was no loading screens. The gamer just went from one area to another area, no loading screens. Okay, no long loading screens. Okay, maybe 5 seconds, and then maybe half of a second, and then automatically it went into the game. What Xbox, what they're saying and what their theory is, no loading screens at all. Meaning you're not even going to be waiting for a second, which I have a hard time believing that. I have to see it to believe it. Okay, so they talked about, and that's all they did. They just talked. Now, a couple of tidbits before I give you my final verdict on this. People were sort of bashing Sony for showing off games that were not going to make it until you're not going to be able to play these games until the next year. And some of those games had delays in them. Okay, that's what people were talking about last year and the year before that. All right, so the games Microsoft shown off yesterday were games that you won't be able to see these games until next year. And I guarantee you, some of them games, 2020, and I guarantee you when it gets closer to 2020, a lot of those games are going to be, and I'm sorry about the lighting, a lot of those games are going to have delays in them. I already see it. I feel like the Ninja Theory game is going to have a delay in it. It's not going to be released and even though they didn't even show a release date, it's going to be delayed. That's why they said 2000. They were very vague on when this game's going to be shown, and they're talking about 2020 when they start releasing their consoles. Okay, and they also showed off Cyberpunk 2077. I forgot about this. and Keanu Reeves appeared on the stage. I feel like that was a plus. But Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be introduced on all devices, PC, PlayStation, and Xbox. So that's not even a game, even though I feel like that game is going to be graphically demanding and it's going to push the next gen consoles. Okay. You know, other than that game, and Halo, and Gears coming out this September, and I don't think Gears is going to be pushing. I think the Xbox One X will have no problem playing Gears. But other than and the Forza Motorsports DLC. Other than the DLC and the two games I just mentioned, what game is pushing this next gen of consoles? It's not a when you look at it, it's not a lot. It's not a lot of games, only 2. So if people are interested in buying this console, okay, and there's no games that's pushing graphically the next gen of console. And who's to say next E3 when Sony's there, Microsoft may be there, or they may do one of those video streams. Who knows? They might add more to the ecosystem of Microsoft when you talk about games. But other than that, there's no game that's interested that I'm going to put $150 down, maybe put $200 bills down for the next console. If anything, when you look at, if you have an Xbox One X, you're probably at the conclusion this morning. Okay, why did I purchase an Xbox One X? Because the games that have already came out, these games are not graphically demanding, and the majority of these games can play on the Switch. So why did I shell out more money for an Xbox One X when there's no, yes, the third-party titles like Assassin's Creed Odyssey looks better. Battlefield looks better when you compare it to the Pro. There's a lot of games that look better than the Pro third-party wise, okay? But when you look at the exclusives, the PlayStation shines. So even though they look better on third-party, that's not, mainly when people buy console games, they buy console games for the fact of the exclusives, okay? I don't care what Microsoft tells you. I don't care what Microsoft fanboys tell you. That's the logic and thinking of a lot of people. When they buy your console, they're buying your console for the simple fact that they have to have your console because I can only play this particular game that I'm a fan of on your console, on your device, okay? And now with the fact that, you know what? You can play all of these Xbox Game Pass. You can play all the Xbox exclusive titles on PC. So not only you're taking away the reason why I'm buying the console, but now you're importing the majority of your titles in your library, old and new, to PC. I feel like this is, and a lot of people are not going to admit this or not, but I feel like next generation, I feel like it's going to be the same song and dance. I feel like the majority of console gamers are going to go to PlayStation, okay? And when you look at the majority of Xbox fans, they're going to be split. They're going to either get a PlayStation or they already got a PC, and they're gonna play their library or the games that they like from Xbox on their PC, and they're gonna put all their money on a console that can play the exclusives and also the third parties. Okay, because at the end of the day, I feel like both of these consoles, the PlayStation 5 and the next Xbox, they're gonna be pretty much the same power wise. Okay, to me. So out of both, if you're comparing both of these consoles, you can only go by the games. And if the third party, you can play all the third parties on the Xbox, you can play all the third party titles on the PlayStation 5. I don't think they're going to have a console exclusive where Microsoft is shelling out money for that game to be exclusively on the Xbox for like 6 months to a year, because that's wasted money, because consumers and gamers and Microsoft has came to the conclusion that they're willing to wait. Okay, they don't waited 2 or 3 years for this game anyway. Why? What's waiting 6 more months or an extra year? Is they will do that. Okay, because they demonstrated that on plenty other games. Okay, I feel like Microsoft has pretty much said to their consumer base, their fans, their stockholders, their shareholders, that okay, we're not competing with Sony no more on the console side of things. Okay, we're making Xbox available for everybody, not exclusive, available. Okay, they're out of the exclusive market. They're out of the exclusive game. Okay, that's not the end game for them. Their end game is having all of these services and games introduced for all gamers. And in a perfect world, Microsoft would rather have Xbox Game Pass on the PlayStation. Okay, that's their big ticket goal, because they want to capture some of their fans and their money, and so now they can have a revenue stream, and that will really make Xbox Game Pass a success. Okay, but I feel like in the current surroundings right now, Xbox Game Pass is going to be for Microsoft gamers. I don't think a lot of PC gamers are going to purchase this service. Not when you got Epic, EA, okay, a Steam, a Valve, you got a Google, when you got all of these other competitors. Not only we got the PC games, but we got the third-party games. Okay, so now people are buying Xbox Game Pass basically on the quote-unquote exclusive games that you can only play from Xbox Game Pass. They took the exclusive away from their console and placed it to their Xbox Game Pass service. Okay, and they're gonna get I think they're not even going to split the market in PC. I think a lot of those games that they shown off, I don't think there's a, unless you're a true blue Xbox fan who happens to own a PC, you're going to get Xbox Game Pass. But other than that, there was nothing interesting that they shown off. It really wasn't. It really shown where Microsoft is looking at when you talk about their future. And the future looks pretty, as far as consoles go and exclusives go. They haven't waved the white flag. They just quit when you talk about competing with Sony. They want to be partners with Sony. They want to be partners with Nintendo. They want to be partners with the PC gaming community, or PC gaming. They want to. First, they were their enemies. Now they want them to be their allies, because they see the bigger picture. They can't compete with these guys. They can't compete with the PC market, okay? Because the PC market is looking down at the Xbox Game Pass. They're still not convinced that they're going to purchase Xbox Game Pass. Even though you got free cloud service, okay, unless that free cloud service applies to free cloud service for your game, for PC gaming, where like it's free cloud service for Epic and Steam. If you purchase games from those services or directly from you, that's a reason to purchase it. I mean, not purchase it, but cloud gaming. How that since it's free and it's available for all your games in your library, where you can import your games to the cloud, then that's a benefit that PC gamers may be interested in or maybe inclined of doing. Okay, if it's set up that way, but I doubt it. Okay, but Microsoft, to me, with no Sony, no Nintendo, no competition, the world is theirs. Not only the conference from last night, but E3. They don't have to worry about or look behind their backs or think, oh my God, what Sony's going to show. Okay, they don't have to worry about that. They don't even have to worry about Nintendo Switch, which the Nintendo Switch is about to surpass the Xbox console. I'm talking about the OG Xbox, the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X. Okay, it's about to surpass all three of those consoles. Okay, and to me personally, there's not really a lot of games for an outsider of the Nintendo community that I'm interested in playing and purchasing a Switch. I did purchase a Switch. The games I liked, I played them, and that was at the time when the service was free. Okay, and even though the service is cheap, to me, it doesn't. There's nothing that's interested me into going back to the Switch. Okay, so it seems like I done had all my fun and enjoyment out of the Switch. When I got through with it, I just did like that. I sold it, and I applied the money to games that I didn't get an opportunity to play with PC and Sony. Okay, and the Xbox. Okay, so as an investor, if you bought an Xbox One X, you still to this day have an exclusive title that reaping the rewards and the benefits of having an Xbox One X. There's not a game out there exclusively that's pushing the hardware. Okay, a lot of people can say, well, it looks Assassin's Creed Odyssey looks a lot better on the X than all the other. And it sort of gives PC gamers a run for their money. The Tomb Raider game, that's all fine and dandy, but people don't buy consoles, like I said earlier, to play third-party titles. They tend to buy consoles that have games in their repertoire that you can't play no place else. Okay, if it's a time exclusive, people will wait. Rather than buy a console, they would wait. Okay, but if it's originally for that console, the only way you're going to be able to play that game is to pick up that console, and Microsoft took that advantage away from their advantages. It's not even an advantage no more. Okay, so last year even though they didn't show a lot, I still gave Microsoft a B. Okay. What they shown, I felt like last year what they shown was good enough. It wasn't a lot, but they shown enough. Okay. And when I think about this conference last night, and then after a night's worth of sleep, which by the way, I didn't get an opportunity to go to the gym because I wanted to do this live stream. Okay. And from what I witnessed and what I saw, I'm gonna have to give Microsoft, and I was fairly generous, okay, because I felt like it deserved the D last year, because there still wasn't enough there, okay. Um, but and then they showed off. They finally shown the Xbox One X, and I think that was the the thing that really pushed it from a D to a C to a B possibly. I really wanted to give it a D last year. This year, I'm not being I'm not being generous. Uh, Xbox deserves a flat F, and it's an embarrassing F. Okay, you're the only one in the classroom. Okay, you're taking an exam. You're the only one in the classroom. So the pressure aspect, you don't have to look over your shoulder to see who's getting done first or who's doing better at the test. Okay, so that pressure has been eliminated, took it away. Okay, and you're doing it on your demands. Okay, that's another advantage for you. And on top of that, the professor is giving you the test. I mean, giving you the answers to the test. Okay, and just before he leaves the room, he says, take your time. Just take your time. All right, and leaves the room. Okay, so now you got the answers to the exam right next to you. Okay, you got notes, you got the answer to the test. He says take your time, but you still fail. And that's what happened with Microsoft. They had all these advantages leading up to the conference. The conference started and they failed miserably. They deserve a big fat F. And I'm gonna explain why. One, why purchase the next Xbox? Why? Why am I going to shell out, or why would anybody shell out $500 to $600? Why? Why do that? There is no advantage in purchasing the next version of the Xbox. Okay, even though it's going to be more powerful than the One X, it's going to be 4 times powerful. All right, no loading screens. Okay, it's going to push the demand from the game aspect. Okay, fine and dandy. But what games are going to demonstrate the power of the next gen console? You don't even have a game that's pushing the Xbox One X now. Now. Okay? Because because Sony, Microsoft, as well as there's a lot of Xbox fanatics out there, is trying to change the narrative of you don't buy a console just to play the exclusives. You buy a console that's powerful, okay? That will showcase and show off the third party games, okay? You can play in 4K. Remember, the big noise was about 4K. Oh, beyond 1080p, okay? Checkerboard rendering. Okay, so Microsoft was talking about how resolution and power is what makes the Xbox X better than the Pro, because a lot, not all, not the majority, but there were a lot of games that look better on the Xbox One X than they do the Pro. They run better, they perform better, they look better. Okay, uh, you know, anybody can admit to that. Even the thick skull-headed Sony fanboys can admit to that. Okay, but you buy a console because if you're in gaming, if you're a console gamer, you're buying that console for that game, for that particular game. It don't have to be the majority of them. That particular game, you can't play that game no place else. You can't play that game on PC. You can't play that game on the Switch. You can't play that game on Sony. Okay, you play. The reason why you buying that console is to play that said game, and Microsoft still is unwilling to evolve from the past. You know, this Halo, Gears, and Forza thing, that's the only three games that they keep cycling in and out, in and out, in and out. While when you look at Nintendo, they still got their old classics like Mario and a lot of other games. Okay, but uh, when you look at it, when you uh, when you look at Nintendo, they still got their old classics, but then they're also putting out new IPs. May not be a lot of new IPs, but it's still new IPs like Arms. Okay, I wasn't a fan of Arms, but it was an interesting title. Okay, and it's still a new IP. They're still trying to push the new IPs. Splatoon, even though it made it to a sequel, it's still a really new IP. Okay, so and they still got the Pokemans. They still got the deal with Sega to do Sonic on Nintendo. You still got Mario, okay? You still got Donkey Kong. You still got Star Fox. You still got a lot of these old games, a lot of these old IPs from Nintendo. But what Nintendo's doing, they keep evolving. They keep looking for the next big thing. The same with Sony. Sony, they still have Drake, okay? They still, have a lot of these older IPs, but then they also go into uncharted and God of War. They still go into uncharted territory and find new IPs. Um, they're still trying to find the next big thing to introduce and to give you yet another reason to purchase their console. Nintendo has this MO, Sony has this MO. And what Microsoft is doing, they're saying we're not trying to invest all our money in being exclusive. We're going to invest all our money to make sure it's capable and it's able to play on everybody's streaming devices, on every console other than ours, and yes, PC. Okay, so I feel like Microsoft and Phil Spencer, they have the data that shows that, and this is the reason why they're going this route, because when they tried to keep things exclusive, they wasn't making money on that. Okay, a lot of people don't want to admit it, but they were not making money on Halo like they used to with the older Halos. They were not making a lot of money with Gears like they did with the other Gears. Okay, so and it's and Forza it's a casual type of game. I don't think it's a type of game that a lot of gamers are going to play even outside of the race gaming community. But when you look at it, they pretty much been consistent on you can have quantity and quality with games. Okay, yes, you still got your old IPs, but you still also need to put in the ecosystem some new IPs. And in this generation, when you talk about Sony, they haven't even shown off the next Kill Zone. They haven't even talked about the next Little Big Planet. They still have those IPs. Okay, and none of those two IPs did not make its way to the PlayStation side of things. Now, a Little Big Planet 3 came out for PlayStation 4, but that was mainly for the PlayStation 3. Okay, you can play Killzone in PlayStation Now, but they don't have a Killzone for the PlayStation 4 because they had so many other new IPs that they invested money and time and resources on that they wanted to introduce for the PlayStation 4. And I think that's advantage PlayStation 4. That's another reason, another notch to purchase a PlayStation 4. Same thing with the Nintendo Switch. They're giving you another reason to purchase a PlayStation Switch. Okay? So when you look at this conference, I give it an F. And I gave you the reasons why I gave it an F. And it's sad. It's really sad when you think about it. You had no competition, no pressure. You had plenty of time to put your best product on the floor. And to me, with all that opportunity at your disposal, you squandered it. You, you you left a lot of people scratching their heads. So mainly next gen people are at the conclusion, okay, why am I buying a next Xbox when? Oh, and here's another thing. They talk about power. They talk about power, no loading screens. They talked about all what's going to be inside. Possibly, it's going to be possibly inside of it, or it's going to be in the next Xbox. Okay, so they talked about all this, but then talking from the other side of their mouth, they're talking about streaming, cloud gaming. That's the world what Microsoft is going to. Now, Sony has indicated that they may be going that route, and I don't think Nintendo's going to go onto that route. I don't think Nintendo's going that place. I think Nintendo is still going to keep it simple, keep it traditional. I guarantee you their next console that's going to be the successor of the Nintendo Switch, it's not going to utilize those features. Okay? Maybe two consoles, because I think Nintendo look at it as, we'll let the big boys do trial runs on this stuff, and if this stuff falls flat on their face, then we know for a fact that we're not going to go into those arenas. But if it's a huge success, and if our fan base wants this, then this is what we have to have. Okay, so cloud gaming. If everything's going to be streamed from a cloud out in space, okay, why would you need a powerful console? Because I was trying to explain this to my to others as well as my wife, the difference between cloud gaming and getting it ripped straight from the disc. Okay. And one thing about cloud gaming and streaming, you just lost all your rights and ownerships to that game. I know a lot of people, it's going to boggle a lot of people's minds, but you really don't own that game, okay? You can't hold that game. You can't trade that game, okay? You probably can get a refund, but you ain't going to be able to get a refund for every game that you purchase through streaming and cloud gaming, all right? So that's out the window. Other than that, cloud gaming and streaming, okay, if you have an Xbox One X, an Xbox One X or the successor to the Xbox One X, and then you have a PC, all right? 3 different consoles. And I'm not even going to talk about the other consoles. One's supposed to be somewhat powerful, then the Anaconda, the Lockhart. Okay, let's just keep it simple. Let's keep it a stack. Okay. We're talking about the Xbox One X. We're talking about the next successor to the Xbox One X, and we're talking about PC, all right? And this is cloud streaming, all right? Everything's gonna be streamed from a cloud, all right? The Xbox X version, the successor to the Xbox One X, and the PC is practically going to look the exact same way. It's going to play the same way. It's not even going to be based on how powerful your console or your PC is. It's going to be due to the fact of how much bandwidth, upload speed, and download speed that your internet service is going to provide. Okay? So if you got the best of the best internet service, okay, then your game is going to run better. It's going to look a lot better, okay? And you're going to have zero lag and zero problems. Or if it's not zero, close to zero, okay? If you're living in rural America or a rural around the world and you got crappy ass internet service, okay, I don't give a damn how powerful your console is or how powerful your PC is. I don't give a damn if you got the Xbox One X or the Lockhart or the Anaconda. If you got crappy internet service, okay, and we're talking about streaming games from a cloud, you're not your experience is going to be very different than someone's experience who has lesser powerful equipment than you. They just got better internet. Okay? I don't think in the United States of 2019, the internet service we have, and I have the best internet service, and it's better than a lot of other internet services out there. Okay? But when you compare what I believe and perceive to be the best, and you compare it to Japan or or other can I say this? Techno savvy, where the internet bandwidth is a lot better in other areas around the world, it makes my internet looks crappy. Okay? When we was talking about 4K overseas, they have already experienced 4K. When we was talking about, remember the big thing, was about like a couple years ago, two Gs for your smartphone, how we thought that was a big thing. Not anymore. Now we're talking about 5G, where there's a possibility it's going to go to 10 Gs. So your experience is going to be based. Can I get this in here? Hold up, y'all. Sorry about that. See, that's what happens when... All right, hold up, y'all. All right, now let me start the car up. Some air in here. I hope that... Okay, I think that's charging the phone up. I'm not 100% sure. But I'm going to at least stay on here for like a good 7 or 8 minutes, okay? So, when you talk about all of that, just because a lot of us have good internet, when you compare our internet service to overseas internet, it's leaps and bounds. Okay, we're still not at where we're supposed to be with internet download speed, upload speed. Just in one area, the internet can be spot on perfect, and in other areas, it's bad. It's not that good. So we're still at that conjunction. I remember back in the early 90s, we were talking about this, how the internet, how you get your wireless internet. If you want to do wireless internet in the 1990s playing video games, it was a crapshoot, okay? You were basically hoping and praying that you're in the middle of a Call of War or whatever, you playing an online game, you was hoping and praying that you don't get lagged out or you don't get kicked out because of your internet, okay? That's why earlier in the 90s, the importance of having stories, having a single player in a game was very important, because if your game did not work, if your online portion of your game, if something happens, you can always go back and replay or play the single player, okay? Now everything is online. Even the story is online, okay? You can't play none of these games today without internet service, okay? You can't. You simply can't. Even if it's a 100% single player, because developers are constantly patching bugs and things of that nature, and you're going to need the internet to keep your game current and up to date. And uh, that's just the way it is. I mean, uh, we're gone from you know uh, we're gone from I can play my game. I can play my game. Uh, and we're gone from the days of I don't have to play my game uh, online. I don't even have to play it online no more. I can just play story. Now everything is online. Everybody wants to play their games online, and they want the best and current up to date patches online. So you're going to need the internet. Just it's just the way it is. All right. Otherwise, you got a console that's a door stopper. That's pretty much what you got without the internet. All right. So I feel like this next generation of gaming, the PlayStation 5 and the next successor to the Xbox One X, if you don't have internet, there's no need for you to purchase a console. Period. No, you should not. You If you don't have internet and you're a gamer, then there's no reason to purchase a console. None. You're going to need it. All right. I feel like we're getting into that era, and we're also getting to the era of I feel like 4K is you're going to see a lot of games utilizing 4K or close to 4K is possible on the next current consoles. Okay, I mean not the current ones, the successor to the consoles that we have. Okay, but all this 8K, I don't see 8K because you have to remember with this era, there were very few games that were that got close to 4K. Okay, very few, a handful. Okay, so the possibility of playing games in 8K, even though I saw the conference and then you heard the people talking about, well, we can play games in 8K. I don't see that. Okay, I see streaming in 8K when you're talking about videos and television shows, movies, things of that nature. You can stream on 8K. Okay, but I don't see any of these games pushing 8K. Okay, because you have to remember we're at the end of this current cycle, and we only have a handful of games that's beyond that's close to 4K. That's close to 4K. We're still running at 30 frames. Okay, so I'm only talking about consoles. Okay, so I feel like the next cycle of consoles, you're going to see more uh, 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 instead of 30 frames, 60 frames. Okay, you're gonna see more. You're gonna have better resolution. I I don't want to be committed and tell you guys what the resolution is going to be, but I feel like it's going to be leaps and bounds better than the resolution that we have with this current cycle. And if you really think about it, we consoles won't take advantage of 8K until the successor of the PlayStation 5 and the Lockhart or the Anaconda is gone. Okay, then the possibility of playing 8K when those two successors are gone, it's a slim possibility. When you're dealing with consoles, a lot of people seem to forget consoles are not meant to be PCs. Okay, consoles. The reason why people buy consoles because they don't want to deal with all the haggling and the constant updates and the constant equipment upgrades. PC gaming is very complicated. Okay, I mean it's easy to play, but it's complicated in the sense of you're always upgrading your PC every year. With consoles, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, it comes out wherever it is in the box. Okay, and now more than ever, I feel like PC gamers are going to slowly but surely not try to upgrade every 2 to 3 years. I think I think it's gonna be a long. I think it'll be like 6 or 7 years until they start upgrading. You know why? Because a lot of these games are utilizing the cloud, gaming, streaming. So it's not. It doesn't matter how powerful your PC is or your console is. Okay, it really matters of what type of bandwidth or upload speed and download speed that you can utilize from your internet service. I think a lot of people are going to focus more of their money on internet and less of their money on the equipment. Now, oh, real fast, real quick, the Xbox the Elite controller. I feel like it's a better controller than the old Elite. Okay, they fixed a lot of things that was wrong with the Elite. It didn't have a shorter trigger finger. Now, you just barely touch the button and you're automatically shooting. I feel like that's good for the PC people who are in PCs and they don't want to use a keyboard. You got an Xbox Elite controller. You still not going to be as fast as someone using a keyboard and mouse, but you'll be somewhat faster than your traditional controllers for the PC. As far as looking at the Anaconda and the Lockhart with an Xbox Elite controller, what games are you going to utilize that Elite controller for? That Elite controller is going to be like $174. That's half the price of the console itself. So you mean tell me you're going to buy that and all you're going to play is Halo, Forza, and Gears? Because all those other games that they announced yesterday, you don't really need an Xbox Elite controller. So it's Xbox has pretty much shot themselves in the foot. I don't see anybody today that's going to say Xbox did well or Xbox did decent. I feel like Xbox left a cloudy judgment with the hardcore gamers. A lot of these fanatic hardcore Xbox gamers, they're going to have to contemplate on, should I even wait for the Anaconda and Lockhart, knowing what type of games that are coming out, and the type of games that are coming out, they don't appeal to me, they don't interest me. So why would I fork over money for that when, and I'm not even sure about Sony, what they're going to show, but I know one thing, Sony's going to probably have a better exclusive lineup than Microsoft. Okay. So I feel like if you're a console gamer, I feel like people were already jumping ship on the Xbox game. They got an Xbox and a PlayStation. Okay. I feel like this next gen, the rest of those fans are gonna go to exclusively the PlayStation. And I feel like the ones that were left standing, sort of say, who only had an Xbox, they're going to try to have both consoles. But if both consoles are out on the market and they can't afford both consoles, they're going to get the PlayStation. I think that's what Xbox said. Xbox pretty much at that conference said, if you're a hardcore Xbox fanatic fan that's been buying our consoles since the OG Xbox, we're here to tell you what we just shown you today. You can pause for a year or two to see if anything else is coming. Okay, so they're going to lose sales on those consoles. Okay, and when they do have something that's interesting and intriguing, okay, a lot of Xbox fanboys are still they're still looking at it as we're already committed with PlayStation and they got the third party games I normally played on the Xbox, but they have better exclusives than I have on the Xbox. I feel like even though Gears, they said this Gears is supposed to be this big time game, that the Xbox One X is going to have problems running this game. If you're talking about directly from a disc, I can see the possibility. I can see how that could play a problem. Okay, but if you're talking about streaming the game from the cloud, then the only problem people are going to have is their internet. If you don't have good internet, I don't give a damn how powerful your PC or your console or your smartphone is. You don't have good internet, you, you're in trouble, my guy. Uh, if you got crappy internet service, that's going to go into your game. So I wasn't too happy with the conference. I was very, very forgiving of last year's conference because last year's conference they really didn't show us anything that was interesting. And what saved them was the Xbox One X, okay, and the Game Pass. Even though I wasn't a fan, but this here's something that nobody ain't talked about: backwards compatibility. Remember how I kept saying last year how backwards compatibility is a feature that is not a demanding feature. Don't get me wrong, if you have it in your console, it's a plus, I guess, on dry spells. When you done played all the new exclusive games, you can, if you have a dry season, you can play a couple of old games, okay? But I kept telling everybody how this backwards compatibility is not a feature that's a demanding feature, and how everybody under the sun was ridiculing me, all right? Notice how it wasn't even mentioned in the Microsoft conference. So what did that tell you guys? What did that tell you? I think Microsoft, when they introduced it, they were sort of stalling because they did not have any games that they can talk about or any games that people were interested in. So do you know what they said? They said, well, let's just talk about the games that we already know that are classics, that we already know that they're hits. If we enhance them, people will buy these games. I mean, replay these games. How everybody was talking about how Red Dead 1. You can play Red Dead 1 on the Xbox. Look at it. It looks better. Okay? And how Red Dead 2 wasn't even that good of a game from Rockstar's point of view. The online sucked. Okay, so I didn't like it. Now I'm pretty sure people are gonna comment in the comment section. I'll wait for people in the live stream, but normally I don't get the bulk of my views until the video is done. Okay, people watch the rerun, and this is gonna be almost this is beyond an hour. Okay, so um, I I mean, if you're an Xbox fan, why purchase the next Xbox? The games they shown, none of those games were graphically demanding for the Xbox One X, and they're definitely not going to be graphically demanding for the Anaconda and the Lockhart if you exclude Cyberpunk 2077, which, by the way, that game's going to be played on everything. Okay, if you exclude Star Wars, the new Star Wars game, which that's going to be exclusive to that's going to be available for everybody. Gears, which is not even going to be graphically demanding for the X. So I definitely know for a fact it's not going to be graphically demanding for the Lockhart and the Anaconda. And Halo, we don't even know what Halo looks like because they showed the CGI. The majority of the games they shown was CGI footage. It was not in-game footage. That got me scared. It got me kind of concerned. And when I looked on social media, people were talking about it, but the one thing they didn't talk about how throughout that whole presentation they didn't have any games that showed in-game footage. It just left me wondering. They just showed CGI trailers. That was basically Xbox thing. And I'm not saying Nintendo does not do this. I'm not saying Sony does not do this. But what I am saying is, at least out of those conferences, you'll see some gameplay footage. You didn't see any gameplay footage off any of those games. The new studios that they acquired, they're just not interesting. And there's a reason why. Remember a couple of days ago, the press got wind of a couple of games that's going to be introduced in the Microsoft conference, and how people were not enthused, they were not pleased. So, well, I'm done. Guys, tell me what you think. Rate, comment, subscribe. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Dom One, and I'm up out of here, man. I gotta go. Bye. Microsoft deserves it. It's an F, F all the way. A truly flat. I mean, a truly big fucking. Ooh, excuse me. F. Didn't mean to cuss. Okay. I spent the whole live stream uh not cussing, and I cuss at the end, but at this time, I don't think anybody's going to hear this. I mean, hear this part of it. Most people's mindset is, after 6 or 7 minutes, they're done with it. Okay, so well, that's all I gotta say, guys. Tell me what you think in the comment section. I'll try to respond and reply to a lot of you guys' comments, depending on how busy I am. It's your boy. I'm Chris the Don One, and I'm up.